Hey guys, it's a perfect afternoon for riding. We're checking out the new Momentum Voya E Plus, and we're focusing on the 3, but I'm also going to cover the 1 over here. And the big difference is that you've got drop bars with paddle shifters, Shimano setup here, hydraulic disc brakes, and derailleur, versus microSHIFT and Tektro over here. It's interesting to have a flat bar option for what pretty much amounts to a road bike, but when we look over here on the 1, those are actually like gravel drop bars. So it's a gravel setup, a little bit wider, maybe a little bit more versatile versus like super lightweight, aerodynamic, narrow. These are pretty cool bikes in my opinion because they are so lightweight. This thing weighs about 41 pounds, 40.8 for that one. So very, very similar. Look at all the mounting points they got here. You got a couple right here, couple right here, one right there, 2 bottle cage bosses, rear rack mounting, multiple bosses there, some additional mounting options there, kickstand mount in the middle, kickstand mount in the rear, 18mm, and they do sell a kickstand that fits this perfectly. There are just so many options. You've even got like a cafe lock mount right there below the seat stays. It's very utilitarian. They actually sell a front rack that offers sort of a wide tray or a narrow tray with these rails as a secondary option, and it carries 33 pounds. That's pretty awesome for a front rack. Now, it is going to move as you steer the bike, right? It's not mounted to the steerer up here. So it's connected to the fork, and it's going to turn when you turn and potentially dump out to the side. And that's if you have a kickstand, right? So for me, I mean, they sell this thing pretty stripped down. The fenders that I saw, they look okay. They're plastic, like PVC, and then they have those metal stays where you can kind of adjust how far away the fender is, which is nice if you change from these relatively smooth Kenda quick journey tires to something that's a little bit higher volume, wider, maybe some more knobs and stuff. There is clearance on both frames. The frames are basically the same. So there is clearance here. You could set this up more like a gravel bike if you want, but I'm calling out the fenders because those support arms, they're the ones that kind of poke out at the top. So if you can slide the fender closer or further away from the tire, but you have these metal things and you got these little rubberized nipple things on top of them. So a little bit of a trade-off there. I was shown an image of a rear rack and told that it can handle 25 kilograms, 55-pound max load. They said there are so many other racks that would fit it in North America. And also the bike frame, it's rated at 344 pounds, and that includes the weight of the frame, about 41 pounds. So we're talking about 300-pound weight capacity, which is pretty good for a lightweight road bike like this, in my opinion. You could turn this into an excellent commuting platform. A little bit jarring, potentially. It's an all-aluminum alloy frame, including the fork. These are fairly narrow tires, which are efficient. They give you really good rolling momentum. They're 700C, so they're a little bit taller, lower attack angle, but lighter, narrower. So when you look at the whole bike here, at that 41 pounds, the motor, it's a hub motor. This only weighs like 3.7 pounds. I'm estimating the battery is like 4.5, 5 pounds. Can't really take it out easily. Technically you can. You just need to get down here and take off this plastic cover. But that's one of the question marks in my mind about this whole platform. It's kind of a road bike, but there's tons of versatility, and since it only costs $2,400 USD, you have some extra money to spend on those parts. For a purpose-built electric bike like this from a mainstream company, I mean, Momentum, you might not have heard of them. They're sort of the lifestyle branch of Giant. Giant's one of the biggest bicycle manufacturers in the world. So you've got that sort of support and trust. There's a pretty good like 2-year warranty on this thing as well, and they're using name brand parts everywhere. I see a lot of value here, but it does start to add up when you have to pay extra for that rear rack, the front rack, the fenders. They have an optional headlight. I guess I like the choices, and part of me feels like there's great value, but I also see how it can start to add up. But this is definitely a more active bike. And for a lot of people, that's great. By the way, it only comes in high step like this, but it does come in 3 frame sizes. High step's kind of nice because you can lift the frame up, put it on your shoulder, carry this up to your condo maybe, or into your place of work, and you might want to do that because of how nice it is, but also because you can't really charge the battery off the bike, right? You have to plug in right here, which is pretty close to that left crank arm. You have to pull this little plastic thing like that. We've got a proprietary interface. plug that thing in. So you're really kind of limited by how close you can get the bike to a wall outlet. Now, the charger that they include is awesome. This thing weighs like 1.7 pounds, 4 amps. I was expecting it to be 2 amp because that's kind of the standard in the industry. So 4 amps, it's a fast charger. It's going to charge the bike from empty in like 3.5 hours. Again, that nice proprietary plug interface. It's got a square tapered spindle, 170 millimeter forged aluminum alloy crank arms, and then these pedals, they're Wellgo. They're kind of basic, not my favorite. Actually, it's sort of like an aluminum alloy center and then a steel outer. I call them like cage style pedals. They're lightweight, and dirt and snow and stuff can get like pushed right through, but they're just not super big. And if this bike tips over or you're laying it down a lot because there's no kickstand, that's going to get sharp, it can get bent in, and then it's going to rust. So for me, it's like, the pedals are something I'd look at swapping. But the cool thing about how light and efficient it is that it's fun to ride even when the electric assist is turned off. It's just a fun bicycle. It's a little heavier than a non-electric road bike, but for those people with sensitive knees or longer distances, you're just worried about wind or a hill along the way, that motor really does make a big difference. It feels fun. It feels efficient. This is a cool bike in so many ways. It's nice to see more kind of niche electric bikes out there. This is the kind of bike where the people who are riding it, it's like, do I need an electric bike? My regular bike does most of the things that this does. You know, how much extra power do I really need? It does make a difference, and when you try it, it's a lot of fun. So just jumping back into some of the drivetrain specs here, I want to point out that they've got a nice clear sticker slap guard right here and one up on the steer tube as well, which is nice so that those cables don't rub and tarnish the paint. This is a yellow glossy matching fork, or we've got this metallic green. If you get the Voya E +1, it comes in this metallic green or like a matte sort of an indigo blue. So again, green or yellow on this one. Nice color options. Down here, we've got a just very standard 42 tooth steel chainring with an aluminum alloy guard, so your pants won't touch that and get snagged quite as easily. This is an e-bike specific chain, so probably rated a little bit higher in terms of rust resistance and overall strength. And then back here we have the microSHIFT advent. And this thing, I wasn't as familiar with microSHIFT, but I'm pretty impressed because it does have a little clutch system in here. So in the down position, this is going to be more slack and it's easy to adjust. When you put it in the up position, it's tighter. That's going to keep the chain from bouncing all over the place. It's a feature I see on some mountain bikes initially. Now I see it all the time on electric bikes. 9-speed drivetrain, 11 to 42 teeth. Interestingly, this is also 11 to 42, but it's an 11 speed. So you have more options for cadence here than you do over here. But to me, 9 is still just fantastic. The shifters are great. Advent, we've got a little rubberized pad here. They're both thumb shifters, so you don't have to take your pointer finger off the brake lever in order to shift, but they're only one shift. So some of the Shimano ones let you go click, 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 and you can like dump those high gears if you're approaching a hill. Can't do that here. The brakes are also pretty nice. I mentioned Tektro versus Shimano on this one. 160 millimeter rotors, dual piston calipers. Pretty good, kind of what I'd come to expect. They get the job done for sort of a city bike that's fairly lightweight and efficient. Their 3-finger brake levers are really easy to actuate. You know, hydraulic brakes, it's not like the added length for the rear brake adds friction or something. They're both going to actuate easily. 3 fingers, you can even brake with just a couple fingers, and there's adjustable reach. So when we talk about the multiple frame sizes on this, it's just wonderful that they're supporting that with hardware that fits different body types and different hand strengths and stuff. I just love that the brakes, you can be pulling like this, and you'd be shifting with your thumbs down here. The grips are kind of interesting. They're flat, they don't lock, and they've got kind of these bulges. They almost feel like a square when you hold on to them. And the bar does have a little bit of back sweep and a little bit of rise. 90 millimeter stem with several spacers, 110, 1.5, and 3 3s. Lots of options here if you want to flip that and get aggressive, or maybe get a shorter one to shorten your reach. 30.9 millimeter seat post here, 370 millimeters long, so lots of height adjustability, and a really nice Celly Royale Vivo saddle. Very comfortable. Again, not quite as aggressive as you'd expect on an actual road bike. So I feel like they're combining some nice comfort here with high performance stuff that's very reliable. And I do want to comment on those Canada Quick tires. 700 by 38C. These things are 50 to 85 PSI. They have the K-Shield Plus. They're e-bike 50 rated for high speed. They've got that nice reflective sidewall. And I want to mention, in the front, 32 spokes versus 36 in the rear. These are 14 gauge, so they're a little bit thinner, lighter, maybe a little bit more flex. And then the rear, we have 13 gauge, so thicker, more spokes. The rear rim is extra special. It's got these eyelets, reinforcement eyelets for strength, and coming back to like the motor and then the weight of potentially having a rear rack. And then you can see a breakaway here, because I believe in Europe they have a version of this bike that has a belt, and you need a breakaway here in the frame in order to put that belt on or take it off. So just a very cool bike. Very neat to see this in so many sizes, so many colors, and even two build outs. It's neat to see. I like lightweight electric bikes because I'm kind of a sporty lightweight guy, and this sort of matches my ride style. But I do have a knee injury, and so being able to get that little help when I need it, go a little bit farther, keep up with my friends, it's a good thing. Okay, I flipped around the bike so you can see the disc brakes a little bit better and the motor. This is the SyncDrive Move. It is 250 watt nominally rated. They say 25 Newton meters of torque, planetary geared. Look how compact that thing is. But in order to fit all this stuff, they went with boost hub spacing, which gives the spokes a sturdier bracing angle and maybe just some more space. I wanted to praise the choice that they made here to put the motor power cable on the left side, because it's just a little less busy than if you have multiple cables and stuff over here near the derailleur. I've seen some other companies with hub motors where it actually fits between the frame and the disc brake. This one, it comes out, but especially if you had a kickstand, that would protect it a little bit, and this bolt sticks out further anyway. So I feel like this is decent. It's got a quick disconnect like most hub motors, so you can do wheel maintenance and stuff if you do get a flat. Again, with the puncture protected tires that they ship with, I feel like it's a good setup. As far as the motor controller, it's pretty fancy too, especially for a hub motor. So this is a custom bottom bracket. You can see it says Bafang right there. So this is measuring pedal cadence and pedal torque. And then I believe the motor itself measures your rear wheel speed as well as motor power output. So they say this is 4 signals that they're measuring to give you this smooth dynamic feel, make it more efficient. And I think that's pretty cool, especially because the display panel has like this automatic assist mode. So it's a little bit smarter than some of the more affordable bikes that I see out there with just a basic cadence sensor. Ultimately, I would call this kind of a power sipper, sort of a electric bike. With the high pressure tires and the slicks and everything, the low attack angle, it's gonna ride pretty efficiently. I think you're gonna get pretty good range. They say 20 to 45 miles per charge. When you're ready to power this thing on, just press the little power button here. They call this the RideControl Go, and it's built right into that top tube, which requires a little bit more looking. Like if you're riding, you know, compared to a display panel up here, it's down here and it's fairly bright. You can adjust the brightness in the optional smartphone app, which is really cool, but it only adjusts these bars, not the power button. So for me, it's like, bummer. But at least, again, your vision might kind of start to cut off or drop off. You know, at least they tried. They do have a ride control button pad that you can mount up here, and that way you wouldn't have to take your hand off of the bars in order to adjust assist level. But back to this whole like automatic mode, that's what the blue dot means. Over on the right, we have 5 white dots. Only 4 of them are full right now because we're like 80% battery capacity, so it's 20% increments. It's not super precise, but again, the optional smartphone app does show you precise percentage. So I really like that thing. And this has ANT Plus wireless and Bluetooth, so you could use this with like heart rate monitor, the app connects to Strava. Lots of really cool options. And when you're ready to change assist levels, you just press this thing once, it goes to like yellow. That's sort of like your middle level of assist. Press it one more time, red, that's the highest level of assist. The order they did is interesting to me, because you press it one more time and this is just no assist, and basically you could use the smartphone app to do GPS and route planning and stuff, and optionally that front light if you got that. I want to complain for a minute, because it's like you've got a front light that's wired in, but they don't have a rear light that I know of. So you'd have to have some like independent rechargeable light that could be, you know, taken off the frame versus ones that are built right in. For a commuting bike, I really like when you can wire them in, but the battery capacity here is sort of minimal, you know, all things considered. You end up spending a little bit extra on accessories to really kit this out. So coming back to the last press, that one takes us to eco. So it's so weird. You know, it goes from like auto to medium, high, nothing, eco. It's just interesting. And if you want to go back to auto, you have to like double tap, and then it goes back to the blue. So it took a minute to kind of figure all of that out, but at the end of the day, I think a lot of people would just ride in blue, and then you kind of keep an eye on those battery ticks, unless you want to take the app out. And again, there's no USB charging ports or anything on this bike, so if you are using your phone for GPS or for that more precise feedback, you know, you're going to be running down your battery life. I feel like it's the kind of thing you'd check occasionally and then throw it back into your backpack or maybe your trunk bag on a rack or panniers or something like that. I thought the app was also supposed to let you do some motor tuning, but when I connected to this bike, it didn't give me that option. So I don't know, maybe the hub motor sync drives don't let you do that, but the mid-drive sync drives from Giant/Momentum do. Okay, so I'm on the bike, just riding it like a normal bicycle right now, and it feels great. In the lowest gear, I don't think I'd have any problem climbing. Shifting gears, again, they're single click on the microSHIFT here, shifting smoothly. And then to get a little bit more speed, this is a class 1 electric bike, 20 mile per hour top speed. I'm just gonna go ahead and boot this thing up. I'm standing still because I don't want to mess the sensors up. Like it is reading the rear wheel speed and kind of the motor power and the torque and everything. So I'm not sure if that's really necessary, but I want to be careful. And I kind of want to do this in the highest level of assist, just so you can hear the motor like really expressing. This is as loud as the motor could get. Pretty fast. I mean, I don't know how fast I'm going because there's no display readout, but it's still giving me power even at this higher speed. I'm sure I'm getting close to 20 miles per hour, and I'm climbing right now, and I'm not in the lowest gear. The body position is also pretty comfortable for me. I'm fairly upright. Going over a couple little bumps and stuff, just trying to get a feel for how comfortable it is. It feels pretty good to me, but I'm in like the perfect environment right now. Nice smooth neighborhoods. The braking is working really well, hydraulic. Big fan of that. Tracks nicely. You know, this is a little bit more aggressive, kind of a steeper steer tube angle. And I'm not downshifting for these starts. I mean, look at this. This is a high gear, but the motor really helps me get going. Now I think I'm gonna do that auto mode, just double press it and we're right back there. It feels similar, but I'm not getting quite as much high power. I'm having to exert myself a little bit more. So it is noticeable. Let's go up this driveway here. Yeah, a little bit jarring on that bump. But the bike doesn't rattle, it's very quiet, smooth. So let's take it down all the way to the lowest assist level and see if I can even feel it. Yeah, less power, definitely less power. It's still there a little bit though. Take it all the way to the highest. I mean, look at how slow this cadence is. I know you can go way faster than 20 miles per hour just on pedal power with this bike. There we go. Climbing that hill, especially once I switched down to a lower gear, no problem, and the motor was noticeable. It was like definitely helping me, so even though it says 250 watts and stuff, it still makes a difference. Like I'm 135 pounds, 5'9", I'm pretty fit. I can climb this hill, you know, on a regular bicycle, but this motor made it feel like twice as easy, basically. Lots of fun. I like road bikes, you know, they're light. They feel more like you're riding the bike versus being on a scooter. It's the kind of thing that if you run out of batteries, no worries, you know, you just pedal it like a normal bike. And I really feel like $2,400 is kind of a bargain for a name brand bike with so many options. So that's the Momentum Voya E Plus 3. For more information on this one and the Momentum Voya E Plus 1 with the drop bars and stuff, check out ElectricBikeReview.com. I have a comparison tool there so you can kind of go back to back and look at all the little minute details. I think that these bikes, they're standouts for 2022 from what I've seen. Feel free to check out the forums too. I've got a Momentum and a Giant forum. The app has mixed reviews on like the App Store for Apple, but to me it seems like it offered pretty good features and it paired with the bike quickly. It also let me adjust from like Imperial to standard units. It connects with Strava. I think it's above average. So anyway, I love you guys. I hope this helps you out. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.